All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. The Jodi there.
The Nickster there.
The Nick.
Oh my gosh. And today we are reacting to...
We are checking. I can still see it from this vantage point.
Good.
So it's a benefit for them to see my face, and it's a benefit for me because I can get really focused on the title.
Absolutely.
David Attenborough loses it at Steve Carell's improvised Baboon encounter. And to answer your question, it's the Jonathan Ross show. My bad. Now, I had to do some research because there's Richard Attenborough, who is the older gentleman in Jurassic Park. Spared no expense. But he was also an Academy Award-winning director from the movie Gandhi and so many other things. This is David, and no relation as far as I know.
That's what I was going to ask.
I mean, it could be. I don't think so.
Distant cousins?
And he's a famous broadcaster and historian and editor and all this kind of stuff. And he had these different series of documentaries and docuseries, usually a lot with animals.
Very exciting.
We're going to check this out. If you like our reaction anyway, please don't forget to
like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be aware of our next upload of videos.
Now, if you're wondering why didn't you talk about Steve Carell, Nick? Well, we're not too familiar with David Attenborough. Obviously, we're familiar with Steve Carell because we are huge fans of the U.S. version of The Office.
We were told to react, or asked to react to the U.K. version of The Office.
Oh, I don't know if copyright would allow us to do that. I know. And we have seen it, though. It's a great show, too.
Yes.
It's just not nearly as many episodes. Here she goes.
You do work with some animals in this film. There's some close-up animal action.
I tend to work with animals quite often.
You've done a lot of
I was
animals.
really intrigued by your conversation before. Yeah, I find myself working with children and animals quite a bit.
You work with, there's a kangaroo scene in this movie. Which...
Kangaroos are odd animals.
I'm assuming this is for Evan Almighty, where he played like a Noah-type character.
Yeah.
The movie bombed, but it was like a sequel to Bruce Almighty. I think I watched some of it. This is before... I watched it before I knew who he was.
What I didn't understand, I'd never been close to a kangaroo. Kangaroo's tail is just one massive muscle, and they can put their entire weight back on their tail and do serious damage with their hind legs.
Have you worked closely with kangaroos, Sir David?
Yeah, I have, actually. Done lots of stuff about the way in which they produce their young, which is quite complicated, isn't it?
I have no idea. Yes. I only know they have the big, horrible-looking tail.
You're not going to be taking over from Sir David, then. I can tell the level of knowledge there.
That I would agree with that.
But I guess they have a lot of people making sure that things don't go awry when you have the bigger beasts on set with you.
They are animal wranglers.
Okay, well, which animals have you worked with where you thought things might go in the wrong direction?
I worked on a movie called Evan Almighty where I was doing a scene with a baboon. And they'd given me no instruction at all. And so I sat next to the baboon, and in the scene I was supposed to take a drink, put the drink down, and the baboon was trained to pick up the drink and take a drink as well. We were sharing the drink. And I decided that I'd improvise with the baboon.
Nope.
And I looked at the baboon after he drank a few times, and I said, "Hey, man, don't take all of it." And the baboon went, "Yeah!" the threat of bodily harm, and it was kind of scary. And the trainer afterwards said, "Oh yeah, don't look at the baboon. Don't talk to the baboon. Don't look at the baboon." And I thought, well, you might have instructed me as to this previously before I did the scene with the baboon.
Recently I read, and I hope this isn't too personal, that you had a hip replaced.
I did. That was a bad day.
That must be a pretty bad day.
Yeah, that was almost exactly a year ago. I had a hip replacement, a full hip replacement, and I held off as long as I could until the doctor said, hold off until you start to limp and then have a hip replacement. So I went in, my wife brought me in, and Yolanda shaved my pubic hair. I'll just say it. Yeah. And, which I didn't know. I didn't know Yolanda was going to be doing that. And she just decided, again, like the baboon, no one tells me anything. So the pubic hair is shaved, and then the doctor came in and said, so let's talk about your hip. What do you want it made out of? And I thought, this has been months leading up to this, and I'm about 20 minutes from having this permanent piece of body installed. And, well, you could go, it's like I'm picking out a car.
Yeah.
You could go with the titanium, or you could go, now, I'd recommend the ceramic because it's very, very durable. You might be able, it might last forever. However, it might squeak. That's the one downside. Like, okay, do I want it to last, but do I want the squeaky hip? So I went with the ceramic squeak hip. Yeah. And I said, give me the squeaky one. So they doped me up, and the guy doing the anesthesia said, now, do you want to see any of the operating room? Do you want to have any awareness from here on out? And I said, not at all.
Oh.
I want to be asleep for the next several weeks. Yeah. I don't want to have any recollection of this. So he gave me my medication, but it didn't quite kick in as quickly as it should have. They rolled me into the operating room, and it looked like a torture chamber. It was there was a bed.
How
there
did it
was
not knock
the
him out right
operating
away?
table.
I don't know. I'm not an anesthesiologist, so I'm not even going to speculate. But there was a procedure I had to get done because I've been put under like maybe 5 or 6 times. Is that a lot? I don't know. And the 4 of the 5 times, it was like count down to 10. And it's like such a great feeling where they force you to sleep. Like I just love it. It was a show that someone's mentioned. I agree. It's an awesome thing. But there was one of the times where like they did it, and like just like he's saying, they pushed me into the actual room. Like you go through the doors, like, okay, I'm still awake. This is weird. I'm still awake. This is weird. And like I'm sitting there, and they're talking about like, all right, let's get started. Like they don't have a saw. They're just like,
Can you talk anything?
Huh?
Could you talk?
Yes. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, should I make them aware that I'm not... Like, you think they would be on top of that. Like, the anesthesiologist, I should have been one of those because they have one job. And it's a big job, keep me asleep. But you think they would be like, yeah, he's not asleep yet.
Yeah.
Are you asleep with your eyes open? Okay, he's asleep. Like, I'm like, okay.
But why wouldn't you guys say, like, why didn't he say anyone?
But I'm just, because you're just assuming it's going to happen. Like, I don't want to be that person that, like, embarrasses myself. Like, hey, did you know? Like, right? So I'm sitting there, and they're having conversations about which way to go about it. The guy's doing the whole chainsaw, whatever going on. And I'm just like, hey, guys. And they're like, yes? Like, no big deal. Yes? Am I going to go under at some point? Oh, yeah, it just takes a few seconds. Could you, like, maybe wait? Because they were talking about the procedure I had done, I keep talking, I'm sorry, was like a 10, 15-minute procedure. It was super, super quick. I won't say what it is, but it was just a very fast one. And so they were talking about how they have this one afterwards. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to take some time. Well, are you sure like it's going to happen before you do the procedure? It was freaking me out. So I can kind of relate to what he's saying.
I know when I went in for my hysterectomy, I was out. I remember them putting me on like just a slab of metal. Like it wasn't comfy or anything. It was like a straight metal like slab. And I remember being like, this is where it's happening. Like this is like the deathbed. But I was like, boom, out, done.
Well, maybe that's what it was, because now that I'm thinking about it, because it was a certain kind of sensitive procedure, I think I had to sit in a certain chair. So they wanted me to be able to get
in the chair.
Everything good before. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I remember kind of freaking out like he was talking about, though.
Looked like a spit, a rotisserie that you would roast a chicken on. And what they do is they put you on this, they strap you down, and they turn you around so they can get better access.
In wherever they need to go.
Wherever, to chop out the hip. And so I was freaking out, and I saw axe saws and the last image that I had in my head was a woman putting on a helmet. I'm not even kidding. It was a helmet with a huge, like a visor and a light. And I just saw these eyes, and then I went out in abject terror.
Oh, no.
And then I had my knee.
But it was all good.
It's fine.
David, you had a knee replaced a while back, didn't you?
2.
Both knees have been done.
Both
Those
knees.
are
Mine
supposed to
don't
be
even squeak. Would you mind? Give me a squeak.
That's supposed to be a much more difficult operation.
It is.
Knees.
And the agony is worse.
Yeah.
Actually, it's fine. I mean, terrific.
David, you don't have to... Can I just say that was the least sexy can-can I've ever seen in my entire life.
We're taking that on the road.
Okay.
I think we pretty much talked in the middle of that. Sorry about that, but you know, it was good. We had our moments.
So I feel like we are different reactors to the point where we listen to our audience. Most of our audience has told us they don't like us like pausing a lot of times throughout the video. And so we try not to, like, unless it's like really something relevant. And that's just usually a natural type of thing. But I feel like we're very different because every reactor I watch, because I watch reactors too all the time, music, sports, whatever it is, movies. And if it's a 3-minute video, they pause at least 3 or 4 times. At least. One guy was reacting to a new video from Linkin Park because they got a new band, or a new lead singer in their band, new drummer. And he seriously, I'm not even exaggerating, he must have paused at least 50 times. Every 2 seconds, this or that, talking about every part. And it wasn't that I hated it, but I'm like, our audience would lose their minds. So what I'm trying to say is we don't try to do it too much, but sometimes, you know,
it happens.
We want something to say. And so, and you can always fast forward that part. I do like his show. I like the reactions to him. Hopefully you guys are enjoying us reacting to him. Let us know if you're like, yeah. But we feel like you guys are enjoying it, and we are enjoying it. Steve Carell.
Your chair is so close to mine. It's like rubbing against it. It's like trying to have chair humping or something. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Didn't know I had
like
a randy chair there.
a little too much. I need to move my chair over.
Thought we were married, but whatever. Okay. You know, there's sometimes in a marriage, after 17 years, you figure out there's some things that your wife does not like. And hers, for me, is not being close to her.
I love you being close to me. I just don't want my chair, like, rubbing it up.
The chair is like an extension of me. Anyways, Steve Carell, and I'm not just saying this because I'm American, he's such a likable guy. He seems like an average, regular guy, regular person who just happens to be extremely talented and funny, who kind of like his dream happened for him. Yeah. Like he's a regular person who's a big time star and he's had a lot of successes, not just The Office. But he seems like a kind of guy that can get along with anyone. Now, I'm not saying that like anyone can go up to him and he's going to be like the most gracious person to all his fans. Like, who's really going to do that? They want some personal time. They want to be able to go here or there and not be bugged. But he just seems like a regular, cool person. Like an easygoing person. I always feel like I like him.
I agree.
But would like to learn more about David Attenborough because he seemed to be really enjoying that too, kind of easygoing. And my dad had both knees replaced before he passed away. And yes, it's tough bouncing back, but man, he was so happy after they were replaced. Like, it's an amazing thing. So if you guys have something done, get it done. That's our PSA announcement here today. If you like our reaction anyway, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And Jinx, until next time.
Goodbye.
You spoke.